This is Terry, welcome to Snowdrops Sunsets. I'm going to do a video today on the topic of creativity and how to be creative and productive. It's a bit of a, I'm going to try and keep it as simple as I can because I was thinking about it. People ask us about that a lot, and it's hard. It was really hard for us to conceptualize because actually I feel like it's part of my identity. Like at my core, I am a creator. I like to be creative. Like it drives me. It's part of my genetic makeup. But I did think about it, and I wanted to like try and break it down, because especially at the minute with the the situation that we've got going on, and we're confined in houses and getting very bored. Which is definitely why I've ended up started doing these videos and other things, because different aspects of my creativity have been stifled and stopped. So I've had to find different avenues for my creativity. And like I said, for me it is quite natural because it's just a drive in us, but I really tried to break it down to do a video because I thought it might be helpful for people who want to be creative, or who are creative but aren't very productive. I get that a lot, that people ask us about, and I've got lots of ideas. They're very creative people, but they don't produce much. And then, yeah, how to do it. So, this was my thoughts on the matter. I think we've got, I mean, this is simplifying loads, but I think we've got 4 states. Well, we're either being ourselves or we're doing something. We're either being or doing. And then if we'll break that down a little bit more, if you are doing something, I think you're either creating or you are producing. And if you are being, if you're just being yourself, you are either resting or you are consuming. And that's about the simplest form I could get that and that explanation in, just for this concept I'm trying to describe. So you're either doing something or you're being. You're either being or doing. And if you're doing, we'll break it down a little bit. So for me, creativity, creation is being able to think of new ideas or create something that doesn't previously exist, and that comes from the realm of imagination. It happens pretty much in our heads. Then you've got production, and production is making that creative vision come to life. Production is the hard work, right? Production is work, it's managing, it's organising, it's business, it's what a lot of people spend their time when they're doing. They're being productive. They might not classify that as creative production or whatever, but if you go to work and something, you're probably involved in some sort of activity that has a goal of producing something. Then on the being side of things, we're either resting, and for me resting is including like leisure and your social, like hanging out with friends or relax, sleeping, meditating, stuff that just helps you like get back into yourself, and you're not doing anything for anyone else, and you are doing it solely to recharge, resting. And the other aspect of being is consuming, and consuming is eating, drinking, entertaining yourself, taking something in. And what I noticed is the main difference in my life potentially to other people's is I really limit my consumption. And I think we live in a society that is kind of trying to shape us into being consumers more than creators. Essentially the society or the structure we've created for society, we're either producing or consuming. You're either producing or consuming. You're working or filling yourself back up with the energy to work. And then there's this other side that's not, obviously it exists, I know it exists, but it's not nurtured in society. It's not given the same hierarchy of importance in our lives, which is resting and creativity. And what I have noticed is, and it's just kind of happened a bit naturally because I've always been a creative person, so I've always been able to think up new ideas really quickly, and obviously I trained as a, that's where I've developed my skills as a designer and an artist. I can think of ideas, to be fair, I used to be a proper workaholic, and I had a really, really strong drive to prove myself and stuff, so I used to produce a lot. So I was kind of, for a long time in my life, just stuck between creation and production. I didn't consume much and I didn't rest much. So part of, which is just something I've realised kind of coming to the end of, my own personal development. So to find balance in my life, I had to focus on my consumption, being aware of my consumption and resting. But that's, I suppose, what made me different from other people, because a lot of people that I observe or that I know, because they're very, very high consumers and they work like in a full-time job, which feels very much in production, they're very high in that, producing and consuming. And I mean, potentially the resting, people sleep, I guess, but I don't know, those people have problems with sleep. I had problems with sleep for years. So I feel like that's what I've noticed is kind of out in balance in people. This balance between production, creation, consuming and resting. So for creative people, naturally creative people that I've been around as well, what I notice is they can very easily come up with lots of ideas. They spend a lot of time in their mind thinking and thinking and thinking. And then potentially maybe do a bit more of the resting, and they're not very productive, and they maybe don't consume very much. So people kind of fall in these categories, and I think that that's kind of the key to being more creative, to find more balance in your life and being able to do something that really enhances your life, is to find that balance between creative, production, consuming and resting. Another thing that I've noticed is you can't create and you can't produce while you are consuming, for sure. Consumption is, it takes a lot of our energy and our focus, and obviously it's quite an important drive in us. So while you're consuming, taking stuff in, you can't be as creative and you can't be as productive. That's why we have breaks, right, at work. That's why they give you a break at work, because actually when you're trying to consume or rest, you're not productive and you're not creative. So, and again, the resting aspect is, again, while you're resting, you can't really be fully creative and you can't really be productive, because we go into a different mode when we're in that kind of being and doing. So if you're spending a lot of time just resting and consuming, which I had to for a while when I was healing, I really had to take time to rest, and obviously I still had to consume to keep my energy going. I was definitely more stagnant then in my creativity and my production. I couldn't do it because I was in that mode of resting and consuming. Another thing which kind of fits in that, so when I was in that state of resting and consumption, when I really need to heal and I really needed to take that time to do that, I got bored. And boredom is the birthplace of creativity, I think. I think you need to get bored in order to get inspired enough to create. And what I've noticed is a lot of people don't. They'll do anything to avoid boredom, which means they'll consume a lot. So that is overeating or binge watching telly or whatever it is. That's keeping you, constant input of stuff coming into your body, is to avoid boredom. But the boredom is where the creativity comes from. Because you're bored, you're not being stimulated, gives yourself a chance to be inspired and have new ideas, and that's the creativity. And a lot of people like that because it's when you're inspired and when you're having new ideas, it's high energy. So in a way, I suppose it is kind of a form of consumption, but it's different. And a lot, like there was a while again where probably for about a good year and a half, I was a bit stuck in creativity because I was in this resting, consuming phase, and then I would get bored and I would be inspired with new ideas, but I wasn't very productive. So I would have lots of new ideas and things, but I wasn't producing it. Probably because I had to really focus on my resting at the time, and you know, it wasn't the time for me. But in the past few, the past couple of years where I've really found this balance, what I've noticed is I instantly act on the creativity. So because I've got this balance between I only consume and I really focus, when I'm consuming I focus on that. You know, so if I'm eating or if I'm watching a movie or if I'm taking something in to energize it, I focus on that. I mean, that was kind of more of a mindfulness practice. And again, resting, if I'm resting, I really try and switch off. You know, I don't focus on other things. I don't focus on work at all when I'm resting. I'm trying my best to, well, I shouldn't say that, I'm resting, right? But when you're in that, then it flips you into creativity. For me it does, and I might be inspired. And I then instantly produce now, so, and that's kind of what's helped me with my balance to be more productive. So instead of being driven to always produce, when I was a photographer I produced a lot. I produced a lot of photos and you know, working for the clients, but it was constant. It was a constant drive, and the creativity was being sucked out of it because I just wanted to produce. I thought that just being productive was the most beneficial part of the process. And now I realise it's not. Now what I do is when I'm creative, when I'm inspired with a creative idea, I use that energy of the inspiration to produce what I'm thinking of or inspired to do at the time. I don't put it off. I don't then consume, and I don't then rest. So once I have that creative spark or the creative idea, like this video, which actually I had the idea for last night, but I thought, I wrote it down, rested, and then when I woke up this morning it came back in my mind and I thought, yes, so now I'm going to produce that video. Ta-da! I'm producing it, right? And that is about as clear as I can make the process. So I suppose if you're seeking advice in that, what I'm trying to say is find this balance. Give yourself space to be bored. If you're stuck in between, you know, resting and consume less, you know, rest less, let yourself get bored, and then that'll lead you into creativity. And then once you're creative, use the drive of the creative inspiration and energy to instantly produce what you can. Doesn't mean you have to produce it all the way to the end. You know, just be as productive as that energy, that drive of the creativity allows, and then leave it there. And you know, potentially you might be inspired to create more of that another day or whatever it is. Whatever works for you, obviously everyone's different. But for me, this is how I can break it down to how to be, to how to actually use like creative energy and ideas to become productive. And yeah, that's the video. If you've got any comments or anything, please do give comments, because I would really like feedback. I am just randomly doing these videos, and I'm hoping they're helpful, and I am really open to feedback if I am maybe going on too many tangents or I'm not being clear enough. Sometimes I wonder that, or if you quite like the conversational style. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you think. So I'll be interested in feedback. Constructive feedback would be nice. But anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. Please like the video if you like it, and subscribe to my channel, because then I can reach more people, and that would be really great. So thank you very much for watching the video. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope this has been beneficial and you can be really creative and productive afterwards.